Welcome to the Man Cave Podcast with Dan Casper.
Where do you put your emphasis on a weekend like this, Jake? You mentioned the ATVs, you mentioned the fishing. Everybody's beautiful sunny weekend. You got a lot of things to cover.
There is a lot to cover. We usually most wardens kind of split it up. So, for example, I'm going to be doing boating activity so I'll probably be doing like state park and boating stuff Friday, boating all day Saturday, UTVs, ATVs all day Sunday, and Monday is still a wild card. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. It'll probably be whatever seems to be the most busy after the weekend I'll probably do on the actual holiday.
They pay you double time on a holiday?
Jeez. No comment.
That's not why
right?
we do it. We do it for the public to protect the resources and stuff.
All right.
Well said.
Hey Jake, we got a couple questions here for you if you're ready to go here from some listeners.
Definitely.
So first one up, it says we have a number of muskrats around our dock and shoreline building bank dens. Can we thin the herd by some means?
Yeah, so you do have a couple options. So I will say the DNR in the last maybe 4 or 5 years has done a really good job revamping the website, and some people find it hard to utilize, maybe because I use it a lot. I don't find it too difficult because if you type in what you're looking for, it generally comes up, especially if you search it through Google. So if you go to Google, type in Wisconsin DNR landowner nuisance, it'll bring you right to the first page that has like 20 different common nuisance species and what you can do with them legally, like our nuisance regulations, state statutes, but also it gives you a big, a lot of information about different ways to find non-lethal ways to thin the herd. So when it comes to nuisance species, which muskrats would be one of them, you can, as a landowner, you can trap them or shoot them if they are causing a disturbance or a nuisance. So if digging their dens in your shoreline is considered a nuisance, then they could just simply shoot them and be done with it. However, sometimes the ramifications of that is that those muskrats eat a lot of like the vegetation out in front of your shoreline. So if you're hoping for a clean shoreline, sometimes those muskrats are helping you. So they give a lot of information about how you could put some mesh netting up to discourage them coming in, how you can put some riprap in at a certain level with certain size rocks, and other options that you could do to basically kind of convince them to move on to a different spot on the lake or river or pond.
Can you do that riprapping or mesh without DNR approval, or do you got to have you guys come out and say, yeah, it's okay, and that takes time?
Yeah, no, good question. So the mesh, for sure, you don't need any sort of DNR approval because generally you're not you're just putting mesh over what's existent there. You're not changing the rock or the habitat, which would mostly, the main reason for it is to change like the shoreline because it changes how different species can spawn or live on that shoreline. But we do have a new like riprap rule as of like 2019, maybe 2020, where as long as you follow like the exemptions you can find online, you can legally put in riprap without a permit. You just need to find what those exemptions are. It basically just says you can't use rocks over a certain size, and you can't go so far into the water where it would disturb it more than just putting some rocks to reduce the erosion and such. So you can do all of that without DNR permits. You just need to do a little research and digging online before you go out there and start throwing stuff on the shoreline.
Gotcha. Another question here. You mentioned a lot of trail riding and such. We had a texter ask, bought a new UTV. I do not have the registration yet and plan on riding this weekend. Is there anything I can do, or is there stuff I should bring with me?
Yeah, so good question. I'm glad he's thinking ahead of time. When you got it, generally if you do it at a dealership or if you do it when you buy it or re-register it or register it, if you do it at the dealership or if you do it at like a service center or somewhere, they should print you off a piece of paper, your standard 8x11 printer paper that says temporary operating receipt. It's good for 45 days. It has your information on it and stuff like that. So that's what you need to carry with you. Basically, just plan on getting pulled over. It doesn't mean you're necessarily doing anything wrong. But if we don't see stickers on the, valid registration stickers on the side of a machine, we're going to be pulling it over. And like you guys already alluded to, all the wardens are out working this weekend, plus the sheriff's offices. So if you carry that paperwork with you and you have it in your glove box in the machine or your wallet or whatever, just when you get pulled over, just be like, yep, I got the reg right here. Here's my temporary stuff. It's a new machine. Hand it over, and the warden would be very appreciative that you have it ready to go, and we'll get you on your way.
So maybe a stupid question, and this isn't from them, this is from me. What if it was like maybe a UTV you bought off Facebook Marketplace or something like that? It was a private party or something like that.
Yeah, so when you buy any sort of machine, whether it's snowmobile, ATV, UTV, motorcycle, or boat, legally in the state of Wisconsin, you have 10 days to transfer the title or the registration into your name.
Okay.
Kind of like a vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
So when you do that transfer, you're going to get that paperwork, whether it's at the service center or you'll get that paperwork online. And if you have a printer, you can print it.
Gotcha.
Otherwise, I would, take a picture of it on your phone or take a screenshot or bring some sort of documentation that shows that you did what was required and that it's registered, because you will never get you won't get the tickets, or excuse me, you won't get the decals or stickers until midsummer. So you're going to want to be ready to show whoever stops it if you ride it a lot.
Jake, we also, this weekend too, is it the northern zone for muskie fishing?
Yep.
That's opening up too. So, I got to imagine that's going to be something in your area that you're going to be monitoring with you and the wardens.
Yeah, a lot of times we just see, obviously increased fishing with it, more guys throwing them big lures for muskie and stuff like that. So, I think some of those guys have been fishing south of the Highway 10, which is good. Maybe I don't know if they got any muskie tournaments or whatnot on Memorial Day weekend, but there'll be some tournaments popping up now because it's open and stuff like that. But yeah, for anyone that's been waiting or didn't know, it's opening up. So your Lake Wasolas, Chippewa Rivers, and further north where it's good muskie territory, you're going to be good to go to start flinging hooks at them and legally fishing them.
And then is it fair to say like smallmouth bass for the the northern zone? That's the last one to still open, because that doesn't open until June, correct?
Yeah, that one. Yep, that one's a little bit later in the year. Off the top of my head, I think that would be the last species.
Okay.
Because muskie, besides like ones that stay closed most of the year, like sturgeon. So
right.
Sturgeon doesn't open until September, but that's only open for a month, so it doesn't really count. This is, I would say, northern smallmouth are the last kind of species to open up for harvesting. And one thing to note on that is, like, if it doesn't, like, how in the spring it says we have like a bass catch and release season during usually when everything is closed. If it doesn't say that it's a catch and release season, it's automatically closed. So I've definitely had some questions recently where they're like, well, muskie season is closed. It means I just can't keep them. And it's like, no, it means you can't fish for them, target them, intend to target them, anything like that. It doesn't mean that it's still a catch and release season. It just means it's closed. You can't target them at all.
Mm-hmm. And if you do catch one, it happens on accident, right? You just release them and such, and you're good to go.
And you can even still take a picture as long as it's really quick. If you're fishing for northern and you're pulling a muskie, you want to take a picture, that's fine. Pop the hook out, take a picture, and dump it back in the water as quick as you can. Same with sturgeon. A lot of people are catfishing or even walleye fishing. They catch a sturgeon. If you want to take a picture of it, fine. Take a picture, throw it back in the water. What I've seen and what we've written some tickets for recently is that people are unintentionally catching sturgeon, but what they do then is they want pictures and they want people to come and they need to go to their vehicles to get stuff, so they take the sturgeon away from the shoreline, bring it up the bank, bring it up into the woods, and they're taking pictures with it, and now that fish is spending 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes out of the water. And technically the law is that if you don't immediately release it, it's in your possession, and once it's in your possession, you're in violation. So there's the guidance. We're all right with you taking pictures, by the water and stuff like that, but don't hold on to it for an excessive amount of time just so you can run up to the car or your parents can come down from the cabin, or whatever. Just get it back in the water and go.
With all the rain too, how is it, from what you've seen, how are the water levels, especially like with the rivers and such?
Yeah, I haven't checked. I follow this NOAA website that kind of says it. I drove by last night over one of the bridges in town here, and it looked fine. I mean, it didn't look. It definitely wasn't low, but it didn't look super high or rushing anything like that. Now, what happens in the next couple of days when all that water is flushed down from northern Wisconsin? I'm sure the water level is definitely going to come up a little bit, but I haven't got any indication, or no one's mentioned anything about it, getting up to a dangerous level, which is good.
Right.
It's kind of setting up to be a pretty nice Memorial Day weekend, between it being not too hot, not too cold, dry. Maybe the trails won't be super, super dusty. Fishing's kind of been on so far this year. People are still killing turkeys even later in the season, which turkey season is still open this weekend. So a lot of options.
I was actually just going to bring that up too, because it is the last weekend here for turkey season too. So
yeah. So if you want to ride UTVs in the afternoon and hunt turkeys in the morning, I mean, you can definitely do it. I think I'm going to try to get out on the very last day this year one more time and just see what happens.
That's my plan for tomorrow. I'm taking a day off. I'm going to do a little turkey hunting in the morning and then wet some lines in the afternoon before we got to get back for baseball. Got a big game against the Jayhawks tomorrow, so got to be back for that.
Good luck. Sounds like a pretty good day with turkey fishing, or hunting, fishing, and baseball all on the same day. Can't really complain about that.
Not at all, man.
Hey, Jake, Dan and I were talking earlier about fishing and muskies. You ever eat muskie? What's it taste like?
I've never had a muskie. I didn't grow up in a family that fished them primarily. I don't really have a ton of friends that target them, so I've caught one in my life, but I've never tried one. I've tried sturgeon, I've tried other weird things, but never a muskie. So I couldn't tell you that one.
So,
have you guys had one?
Well, I asked my buddy who that's all he does is muskie fish. I mean, across the country and such. So he
probably got mad at you.
Yeah, he did actually kind of. He said it's disgusting and not worth it. I had one die on me years back from a super clean water. Tried grilling, baking, and frying. Gross all around. So yeah, there you go. Yeah, he doesn't even mount. He doesn't he's all catch and release. And
I know nobody. Yeah. You don't see any musky fish fries Friday night.
Nope.
No, I mean that's such a cultural sportsman thing with the fish to always release it. Any fish when it gets bigger and bigger, it's just years of it, just sucking in everything in the lake. So I know, the same with walleye, right? They always talk about the best eater walleyes are your 15 to 16, 17, not your 31 inchers. So I assume that's probably maybe if there's a lake where you can catch a 20-incher and fry that up, maybe it'll be different. But I don't know.
It's kind of like with northern too. Like they pickle them quite a bit. Those smaller ones, right? The pickle northerns.
Yep.
So well,
I don't know. I've met people that can turn anything. I've met some people that if you gave them your old shoe, they could probably make it taste good. So I'm sure someone could make it taste good.
So you're giving me an idea here, Jake. Do we have to have like the trash fish, the garbage fish cooking competition? Whoever can make like the best, like carp or something like that.
I think that'd be pretty neat, actually.
Well,
have a bunch of these fish that everyone thinks are bad and come in and they're delicious.
Well, then you're going to be one of the judges for us. We're signing you up for that. So,
hey, if I got to do it, I got to do it. I'd love to do something like that. That sounds interesting, actually.
We used to catch carp when there was 18-year-old beer bars and go out at night and catch carp, and then we try and smoke them. and we never got it right because they were horrible every time.
Yeah, well, those commercial fishermen on like the Mississippi, they catch them and they have a market for them.
Yeah.
So there's definitely people that eat them and different ways to utilize them.
Absolutely.
Not around here.
Yeah. Not when you got perch, bluegills, and walleye.
Right.
Yep. Hey, Jake, be safe this weekend. Appreciate the time this morning answering everybody's questions, dude. And enjoy the weekend as well with the weather, and we'll catch up with you again soon, okay, sir?
Yeah, you guys enjoy the weekend as well. And to everyone listening, happy Memorial Day weekend, and just be safe out there. Have fun.